Imagine the world holding its breath, a continent in shadows, hope flickering. Such was 1940. So much hinged then. A young man, barely out of boyhood, carries the weight of a world on weary shoulders. He is one of few. Above, the heavens themselves became a battleground, a swirling ballet of life and death, defying impossible odds. Freedom's fight. For in that crucible of 1940, one island stood defiantly alone, Europe's last bastion against encroaching darkness. The year 1940, a time when the very fabric of European civilization seemed to teeter on a knife's edge. Nation after nation had fallen, swallowed by the relentless, terrifying advance of Nazi Germany's war machine. Their might appeared unstoppable, their victory inevitable. It felt as though the world itself was being remade, brutally. And then there was Britain, isolated, outgunned, and seemingly standing on the very brink of oblivion. Many whispered, how could they possibly stand? What hope remained for such a small, lonely nation? Against the vast, seasoned might of the Luftwaffe, they possessed barely 1,000 pilots, a stark, chilling imbalance. These young men, often still boys, represented the fragile barrier protecting an entire way of life. Could this handful of brave souls truly halt the seemingly unstoppable momentum of Nazi Germany's invasion? This wasn't just a battle for land or glory. It was a desperate struggle for human dignity itself. The stakes couldn't have been higher. The potential fall of an entire civilization hung heavy in the air. This wasn't just Britain's fight. It was the last desperate stand for freedom in Western Europe. And so, the stage was set for a monumental confrontation, a clash that would echo through history forever. This was the Battle of Britain, an ultimate test of defiance, courage, and the very spirit of a nation. It was a fight waged not on vast battlefields, but in the boundless, unpredictable arena of the skies above. And in those skies, a few young men would rise to meet an overwhelming, formidable enemy. They truly were the few. Their story is not merely one of strategy or machines. It's a deeply human tale of extraordinary bravery. It reminds us that even when the darkness seems absolute, a flicker of courage can ignite the greatest hope. Join us now as we journey back to 1940. Let's truly feel this profound, pivotal story together. The old world dreamt of peace, but a new, darker dawn was breaking. Whispers of storm gathered. The blitzkrieg swept across nations with brutal speed, a terrifying, unstoppable tide. Europe watched, breathless. One after another, great nations fell. France, once a bulwark, crumbled too swiftly for belief, their spirit broken, their land overrun. The dream of swift victory had vanished, leaving only retreat, pushed to the very edge of the continent by the unforgiving might of Nazi Germany's advance. On those sands, 250,000 souls huddled, backs to the sea, faces to a cruel destiny. Weapons were cast aside, a bitter farewell to the tools of war. Only life mattered now. Then, a quiet miracle stirred. Little ships, civilian hearts, sailed towards the impossible. Fishermen, ferrymen, fathers, everyone with a boat joined the desperate, courageous exodus. Through the perilous waters they waded, leaving everything behind, grasping for a lifeline. The skies above Dunkirk were a constant storm of fire, death raining from Nazi Germany's planes. Slowly, painfully, they were pulled from the clutches of certain doom to sail home. Home, but not quite whole. Their eyes held stories of unspeakable terror and survival. A miracle, it was called, yet a heavy price was paid. All their weapons remained. Now, Britain stood utterly alone. The Channel, a thin blue line, was its only friend. We shall never surrender. Those words, a beacon of defiance, echoed across the fragile island. The nation drew a collective breath, knowing what was coming. Fear mingled with quiet courage. Across Europe, the shadow of Nazi Germany stretched long and dark. Britain was the last light. The sheer might of Nazi Germany was undeniable, a psychological warfare as potent as bombs. Across the narrow stretch of water, an invasion loomed. Operation Sea Lion, Hitler's chilling plan. Every village, every coastline became a fortress. Spades and courage were their new weapons. Life continued, a fragile dance against the backdrop of war's grim certainty. Still, hope flickered. Sons left homes, wives bade farewell. each departure a silent prayer for their return. Women stepped forward, keeping the heart of the nation beating, their strength unwavering. A spirit of quiet resistance settled in every home. They would not break. Yet, a small, courageous band of brothers stood ready, the Royal Air Force, so young, yet shouldering the fate of an island. Their courage was breathtaking, truly. In the lingering quiet, a fragile hope emerged. Perhaps, just perhaps, they could hold. The horizon waited, ominous and heavy. The greatest aerial battle was about to begin. An island, united by fear and fierce resolve, braced itself against the coming darkness. After France fell, Hitler's gaze turned westward, across the narrow stretch of water. A grand plan. That very channel, once Britain's shield, now became the target, a path for invasion. And so, a name was given to this audacious scheme: Operation Sea Lion, the roar of war. It was to be a massive amphibious assault, hordes of men crossing the channel, landing on British shores, alongside an airborne assault, paratroopers descending from the sky, like shadows falling upon England. The scale of it, truly staggering. An ambition born of victory, threatening to reshape the world. Britain stood alone, a solitary island, seemingly vulnerable. The stakes had never been higher, nor clearer. This wasn't just another battle. It was the precipice. Freedom's very future hung in the balance. Hitler, emboldened by swift victories, believed Britain would crumble. He saw no real obstacle. The objective was clear: crush British resistance, occupy the island, an end to their defiance. But between Nazi Germany and Britain lay the Channel, a formidable barrier, a watery grave. And for any invasion, one absolute truth emerged: no ships could cross without complete air cover. The Luftwaffe's mission was paramount: sweep the skies clean, dominate every inch above those waters. They needed to control the very air above the beaches, securing the landing zones for their invasion. Without aerial guardians, the invasion fleet would be utterly exposed to Britain's naval and air might. And suppressing Britain's coastal defenses? Only with unchallenged air power could that be achieved safely. Air superiority wasn't just an advantage, it was the singular, undeniable key to the entire operation. Standing squarely in their path, a stubborn defiance. The Royal Air Force, Britain's hope. This would be a colossal test of wills, of courage, machines built for battle. The true battle for Britain, for its survival, would first be fought high above, in the sky. The Luftwaffe's reputation preceded it. They had swept across Europe, leaving destruction in their wake. Their pilots were seasoned veterans, tempered in battle. Their aircraft, cutting-edge, fast, and deadly. The Blitzkrieg, that lightning war, had a devastating aerial component. Air power leading the way. Their numbers were immense, their power undeniable. They seemed an unstoppable, terrifying force. Their air force's chilling efficiency brought proud nations to their knees. It was truly formidable. No one had truly stood against them. Their dominance felt absolute, a force of nature. Britain, a lonely island nation, watched the storm gather. Nowhere else to turn for immediate help. The Channel was their moat. But once crossed, there was no other physical barrier remaining. The Royal Air Force, they were the shield, the last defense. Everything depended on them now. A nation's fate, its soul, rested upon these young men, high up in the sky. The tranquil English summer of 1940 held a deceptive calm, a breath before the storm. But beneath the surface, a chilling resolve was hardening, a momentous decision being forged. Far across the water, in the heart of Nazi Germany, a new chapter began to unfold. On July 10th, 1940, a decree, cold and absolute, echoed from the Führer's headquarters. Hitler's command was stark: utterly destroy the Royal Air Force, break their very spirit. This wasn't just another engagement. It was to be the crushing blow, the decisive act. The Air Force, Britain's shield, stood directly in the path of the coming invasion plans. Thus began Operation Eagle Attack, *Adlertag*, a name whispered with both dread and defiance. It marked the official, brutal beginning of what we now call the Battle of Britain. The Luftwaffe, confident and vast, turned its full might towards the narrow English Channel. Initial clashes were swift, brutal encounters, testing the mettle of both desperate sides. Over the Channel's choppy waters, The first dogfights erupted, aerial ballets of sheer terror. Small merchant ships, quietly plying their trade, suddenly found themselves caught in the crosshairs. Convoys, their cargo vital for survival, became vulnerable targets for the German bombers. The sea, usually a highway, transformed into a graveyard, claiming brave souls unexpectedly. Each attack was a calculated attempt to isolate Britain, to cut its lifeblood supply. The relentless pressure mounted, a growing sense of siege gripping the island nation tight. But the Luftwaffe's ambition didn't stop at the Channel's busy shipping lanes there. Their sights soon turned inland, towards the very fabric of Britain's coastal defences. Airfields, the RAF's beating heart, became prime targets, essential to crippling their response. Hangars, runways, and radar stations themselves faced a torrent of destructive bombs. Coastal towns, their people watching from windows, endured the terrifying rain of destruction, the rhythm of daily life shattered by sirens, by the deafening roar of enemy planes. Yet, amidst this storm, Britain held a quiet, groundbreaking secret, an unseen guardian. Along the cliffs, silent towers stood, part of a network named Chain Home, listening intently. This was radar, a new, ingenious technology, giving precious seconds of early warning. It painted a ghostly picture of approaching enemy formations far out over the vast sea. Commanders, seeing these blips, could direct their scarce fighters with remarkable, crucial precision. This unseen edge, this tactical advantage, was priceless in the desperate fight ahead. It meant fewer wasted patrols, more effective interceptions, a better chance at survival. Radar didn't win the war alone, but it was an indispensable eye, seeing the unseen, a silent sentinel, watching, waiting, protecting the skies above a defiant, hopeful nation. It was a testament to ingenuity, a crucial secret weapon in Britain's darkest hour. The morning light, once a comfort, now held a deepening shadow, a quiet before the storm. Each new day brought the same relentless promise, a gauntlet of steel in the vast, open sky. The enemy's intent sharpened, their targets shifting with a chilling, calculated precision. No longer just cities, but the very heart of their defense now lay in the crosshairs. The few, prepared to meet an onslaught that sought to break their spirit, one airfield at a time. Then came the hammer blows, aimed squarely at the places where hope itself took to flight. Wave after wave, the sirens screamed, a mournful chorus across the green English earth. Even on the ground, life became a desperate, darting struggle for precious moments of safety. Their homes, their workshops, their very lifelines turned to rubble and choking dust. Despite the chaos, they launched. The sky was their battlefield, their sanctuary, their duty. The runways, scarred and broken, were mended with desperate haste. Every moment counted. The very air they breathed tasted of cordite and despair, yet their resolve never wavered. Each landing was a silent prayer, each takeoff a stark reminder of what might come next. The precious machines, patched and mended, stood ready for the dawn, often barely so. Sleep offered little rest, punctuated by the chilling thought of another attack, any moment. Then, the silent sentinels, the radar stations, also became targets of this ruthless aerial war. Their eyes in the sky were blinded, leaving them to rely on pure courage and instinct. The very sinews of their strength, the factories, were bombed with desperate, destructive ferocity. Yet, even amidst the ruins, the quiet, persistent work of rebuilding would always begin anew. Every rivet, every weld, became a defiant testament to their unwavering will to continue fighting. The human cost was immense. The pilots pushed beyond any reasonable limit of endurance. Each lost friend, each close call, added to the heavy weight carried within their tired souls. They were the few, bound by a brotherhood forged in the crucible of constant, mortal danger. Fighter command strained, balancing their limited numbers against Nazi Germany's overwhelming might. Small comforts, fleeting moments of quiet, were all they could grasp between their many urgent scrambles. Replacements arrived, often boys, stepping into boots far too big for their tender years. The price of freedom was etched onto their faces and on the hallowed ground where their friends now rested. Every aircraft, every pilot, every bullet fired represented a critical, dwindling resource. The tireless work of those unseen hands kept the wings aloft, mending what the enemy had broken. From the heart of the nation, new strength emerged, a quiet defiance taking to the skies. Against such odds, their resilience was a fragile, yet fiercely burning, ember of hope. What sustained them was more than courage. It was the quiet love for the world they protected. And so, the gauntlet continued, each day a testament to the enduring spirit of the few. Amidst the storm, a quiet mind was at work, crafting a defense system, a strategic marvel for Britain. He envisioned the skies as a grand chessboard, each piece vital, each move meticulously planned, like a game. Radar, a whispering guardian, extended Britain's eyes far beyond the horizon, revealing distant shadows approaching. Below, countless watchful eyes, the ground observers, listened intently, their keen ears ever searching the heavens. Information flowed like a river, converging on these tables, guiding decisions with quiet, unwavering precision. This was the heart, the nerve center, where intelligence became action, a symphony of calm efficiency. Then, the order. Young men, with courage in their hearts, launched skyward, meeting the enemy head-on. Dowding's quiet genius stitched these threads together, creating a tapestry of defense, truly formidable against the storm. It maximized every precious resource, turning scarcity into strength, a clever shield protecting the island. In humble rooms, quiet innovations bloomed, turning every piece of knowledge into a crucial advantage. And then, them, the pilots, so young, yet carrying the weight of a nation upon their slender shoulders. Each flight demanded raw courage, a willingness to face the unknown, to challenge the very heavens. On the ground, a brotherhood formed, forged in fire and shared fear, their spirits intertwined. Beyond the roar of engines lay personal sacrifices, dreams quietly deferred, futures held in fragile balance. The endless strain, the relentless sky battles, etched lines of weariness onto these young, brave faces. Yet, laughter could still pierce the darkness. Small moments of levity, clinging to hope. Even then, each empty chair, a silent testament to the toll, a heavy ache in the hearts of those left behind. Their reality was a constant vigil, a dance with death, yet they faced each dawn with steadfast resolve. The bonds forged here, under the crucible of war, would endure beyond any battle, forever etched deeply. No grand speeches, just quiet heroism, a steadfast commitment to duty, a fight for their homeland. Then came August 24th, a day that would tragically alter the course of this brutal, unforgiving war. From across the Channel, shadows gathered. The unmistakable drone of Nazi German bombers, drawing ever closer. A mistake, a tragic, unforeseen error. Bombs fell not on targets, but on London's innocent heart. Chaos erupted. Homes shattered, lives irrevocably changed, an unthinkable violation of sacred ground. A collective gasp. The shock, the horror, rippled through the nation, igniting a quiet fury. This act of aggression, this attack on civilians, awakened a deep, defiant roar from the British spirit. A decision was swiftly made, a solemn vow. London would not suffer such an outrage unchallenged. In the quiet of the night, RAF crews prepared. Their target, the heart of Nazi Germany, Berlin. The tables turned. Berlin, the capital, experienced the terror of the skies, a taste of retribution. When news reached him, Hitler's fury ignited, a terrifying storm of uncontrolled, vengeful indignation. Blinded by rage, he made his most critical error, diverting his sights, changing the war's very trajectory. This moment, born of accident and fury, proved a crucial turning point, forever altering destinies. The weight of that mistake would echo through history, a profound lesson etched in the endless skies. Frustration simmered, a leader's will clashing with stubborn resistance. A new, desperate plan emerged then. He turned his gaze, not to airfields, but to hearth and home. A terrible shift in the winds of war, the relentless hammering on those brave few airfields. It eased, a quiet breath for the weary. Across the narrow sea, a great city slept, unaware of the terrifying storm gathering on the horizon. The night sky above London. It shattered. A new kind of terror had now descended, dark and relentless. Night became a canvas for dread, the droning hum, then the whistle, forever etched into memory. Homes, dreams, shattered to dust. Fear became a constant companion, a heavy cloak in the darkness. London, the heart of an empire, now bled, each explosion a tear, a wound upon its ancient soul. Amidst the rubble, a spirit refused to break. Neighbors became family, strength found in shared adversity. Weeks turned into months, each night a trial. The city learned to live, to breathe, beneath bombing's shadow. Tiny hands, held tight, waved goodbye. Innocent eyes reflecting a world suddenly turned frighteningly dark. Deep beneath the streets, a different city slept. The rumble of trains replaced by distant, muffled explosions. And so, amidst the city's torment, an unexpected gift was bestowed. A vital breath, runways were patched, hangars rebuilt, engines finely tuned. Every screw, every rivet, mattered greatly. Those brave young men, finally, could rest. The burden of relentless sky patrols temporarily lifted, minds cleared, strategies refined, a new resolve quietly forged. The cost of that reprieve, immeasurable. What Nazi Germany saw as punishment became salvation. A profound miscalculation, a true turn of fate. The weary eagles, once on the brink, now found new strength, a quiet power growing in the shadows. Yet, across the channel, the enemy regrouped. Another wave, a final, decisive blow was planned. They believed London's fire would break England's heart. A people's spirit, they thought, could be bombed away. September 15th dawned, crisp and clear. The day fate itself seemed to hold its breath, waiting. A Sunday morning hush, soon to be shattered. The very air above London felt heavy with unspoken dread. Hundreds of wings, dark against the blue, descended. A terrifying aerial armada, menacingly approaching. The call went out, urgent, clear. The few, the brave, surged skyward once more. Above the city, the canvas of battle began. A swirling, deadly ballet, painted with desperate courage, twisting, turning, a desperate aerial waltz. Every decision, every bullet, held the fate of a nation. Smoke stained the azure, a somber testament to fallen heroes. Each plume a silent, aching prayer. Below, a city watched, its heart pounding. Every roar, every burst, echoed deep within their souls. Hours bled into moments, stamina pushed beyond limits. Yet they flew, their resolve unyielding. Gradually, the torrent slowed, then faltered. The enemy's will, once so mighty, began to fracture. The aerial tide had turned, a silent, monumental shift. Daylight air superiority would not be theirs. As dusk fell, an exhausted quiet descended. London breathed, battered but unbroken, beneath a watchful sky. On that day, a desperate gamble failed. Freedom, dearly bought, was defended. The course of history altered. Summer's fierce embrace waned. The daylight terror above England slowly began to fade, a hopeful sign. Enemy daylight formations thinned. Attacks grew less frequent, their resolve wavering against Britain's defiance. Each sortie now felt heavier, the cost in young lives mounting to an unbearable, soul-crushing toll. Operation Sea Lion, a grand design, now looked like a cruel mirage. Its certainty, for Nazi Germany, faded. The enemy's losses were becoming simply unsustainable. Every lost plane, a crushing blow to their resources. Yet, the RAF, though bruised, remained unbroken, a relentless shield against the gathering storm above. Their spirit, born of shared sacrifice, burned brighter than any bomb blast, lighting the path forward. The skies over England, though still contested, no longer yielded easily to Nazi Germany's will. Behind closed doors, the hard truth began to dawn. The invasion window was closing, rapidly. With each passing day, the channel grew colder, its waters more treacherous, its winds unforgiving. Whispers began to spread, faint at first, then growing louder. Perhaps, just perhaps, the worst had passed. The invasion barges, once poised and ready, sat idle in port, their purpose now uncertain, their crews restless. Then came the official word. Operation Sea Lion was indefinitely postponed. A nation held its breath. A collective sigh of relief, though tempered by caution, swept across the island. The immediate danger lessened. Yet, for many, the fear lingered like a shadow. This was not an end, merely a pause. Nazi Germany's gaze was beginning to turn elsewhere, towards new, more ambitious conquests in the east. Operation Sea Lion, the feared invasion, was finally cancelled. The immediate threat, at least, was averted. The unthinkable, the invasion, had been stopped. The brave pilots had bought Britain precious time. But as daylight battles waned, a new, more terrifying chapter began to unfold in the night. The Blitz, a relentless storm of bombs in the darkness, descended upon British cities throughout winter. Homes, lives, dreams, all threatened by Nazi Germany's brutal assault from the moonlit skies. This was a different kind of war now, fought in the shelters and streets, not just the clouds. Yet, in daylight, the RAF supremacy remained undisputed. Britain would face the future, unbroken. The echoes of battle fade, yet a profound silence speaks volumes. History holds its breath, listening to the whispered truths. For the first time, Nazi Germany's war machine faltered, stumbling on English shores. A stark, undeniable truth emerged. Hitler, once seen as invincible, met an unexpected, powerful adversary. His grand, dark plans were now irrevocably challenged. This was more than just a battle. It was the saving grace for an island nation. Britain stood firm. Had Britain fallen, Europe's last bastion of hope would have vanished. A crucial light flickered, then shone. It preserved a vital springboard, a precious foothold for freedom. The tide of despair began to slowly turn. This saved the possibility of an eventual counter-invasion, a grand return. The spirit of resistance found its home. The free world, reeling from darkness, gained invaluable moments. Time, a precious commodity, was bought at great cost. This breathing room allowed strength to gather, strategies to form. A future, however distant, was now within reach. And then there were the few. Young men, some barely more than boys. Their courage ignited the skies. Pilots from Britain, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Poland, Czechoslovakia, a mosaic of brave souls united. They rose, not for conquest, but for survival, for freedom's very breath. Their sacrifice became legendary. Winston Churchill, with words as powerful as their deeds, etched their bravery into history's stone. Never was so much owed by so many to so few. A simple truth, profound and eternal. These words echo, a timeless testament to their spirit. Their legacy endures, whispering through generations. The legend of the few lives on, not just in books, but in the heart of nations. Their unwavering resolve changed the course of a global war. The world forever stands in their debt. This victory wasn't just tactical, it was a profound moral triumph. Hope, once fragile, was rekindled, a testament to the power of human spirit against tyranny. Freedom's flame burned brighter because of them. So, we remember them, not as distant figures, but as brothers who gifted us peace. Their story is a reminder that even in darkest hours, courage can forge light. Never forget their fight. The Battle of Britain stands as an eternal beacon, guiding us towards the values they so gallantly defended. Their immortal legacy, freedom's quiet strength, born on wings of courage, forever etched in our collective memory. So, my friend, we reach the end of our journey. A quiet moment to reflect. What truly remains? This battle, you see, was never just about metal birds in the sky or brave men. It was about something far deeper, an unwavering spirit that burned brightly within them. A spirit of quiet defiance, a stubborn refusal to bend beneath the coming storm, and yes, boundless courage, found in every heart, facing the darkest of days. A tiny island, standing alone, a nation that simply refused, profoundly, to surrender. They faced overwhelming odds, a vast darkness threatening to engulf all light. It was the strength of ordinary folk, their quiet resolve, that truly turned the tide. Their sacrifice etched a timeless message, a profound testament to the human spirit, a defiant flicker against the growing shadow of Nazi Germany, a stand for freedom. Let their unbroken spirit live on, a gentle reminder of what we can become. If this story, dear friend, has touched your heart, please leave a gentle like. And if these echoes of history resonate with you, do consider joining our journey. Share your own thoughts below, perhaps suggest another profound tale to explore together.